If what you are trying to achieve so far is how to get a custom email address, such as one that has your preferred prefix at your name dot your preferred TLD, e.g., hello at safrank.com, then you're watching the right video. Without wasting time, I'll try to be concise. Let's get right into it. So, for any of the cases available, like any of the ways available for you to get your own custom email address, right, you would at least need a custom domain name. That is something like www.yourname slash your preferred TLD, e.g., www.yomi.net, right? First method that I would explain requires you having a website. Now, this is something I would suggest to people that already own a website, because most likely than not, if you already own a website, there are options available for you. There are like free slots available for you to create your custom email address. An example is, a brother reached out to me a while back on behalf of a company asking me, "Oh, can I help the company create custom email addresses for their workers?" And I was like, "Do you guys have a website?" He said, "Yes." I said, "There's a chance that you guys already have that available, right? The capability to actually create the custom email addresses, because the thing about if you already have a website is, if your website was built on a static server, like let's say Netlify and the rest, it most likely does not have that option available. But if your website was built using a cPanel profile, hosting profile, right, it is definitely available for you to create at least 20 custom email address. So all you would have to do is just go into the cPanel backend, right? Like your cPanel admin page from your hosting, and then you go to email addresses, and then you create your email address. Now it can get a bit tricky. This is where I'll talk about the problems that tend to come with that one. It can get a bit tricky if your hosting, right? Your hosting company, let's say Namecheap for instance, is not the one in charge of the management of the domain name that you bought from them, most likely, or that you bought from another platform. But basically, if your hosting profile for the cPanel, the company hosting it, is not the one in charge of the domain name too, let's say you moved the control over the secure server layer of the domain name, the way it access the protocols for the website and all of that, to somewhere like Cloudflare, right? Or it's from another platform, you have to initiate changes of SPF records from that other platform. Let's use Cloudflare for instance. SPF records, a mismatch at the slightest form whatsoever would definitely lead to email deliverability issues. That is, you'll probably have issues sending out mails or receiving them, or you just have issue with both. The solution for that is something you can find in an article that I wrote on dev.to some years back, or you could probably just chat up your hosting company customer service, and they would literally guide you through. But do not fret when you encounter an issue like that. And also, if your hosting company is the one in charge of both your hosting and your domain name, and you're having email deliverability issue, the best way around it is to go to your cPanel once again. But this time around, you're not going to like email addresses like to create or to delete email. You will go under the email section, you go to email deliverability, and then you click. When you click, it's going to show you a couple of domain names that are under that hosting profile, and it's going to show you beside the domain names if the domain has an issue or not, and then you'll be able to click that, okay, fix this issue, or you will see that it does not have an issue, and you're pretty much good to go. Easy peasy. That's the first method on how to get your own custom email address if you already have a website that has a cPanel hosting to it. All right, let's get into method two. Now, method two is the one that is like entirely free in a way, right? I said in a way because there are features that come with method two that if you're not paying, you don't really get to have them. But then, the basic feature of being able to receive and send emails out will be available to you. All you have to do is get your domain name. Just like I said, you need your domain name at least for any of the methods that I'm going to give you. Now, you need to use a platform that is kind of like specifically attending to help you with custom email addresses. For instance, I use zoomail.net. There are other platforms also available doing the same thing, right? Now, Zoho will give you a robust catalog of features when you pay, but when you do not pay, you do not get some features like being able to set up your email address on your mobile, being able to do streaming link, and some things that actually really do not concern you, right? But for the other method that I stated earlier, you'll be able to configure your email address on your mobile and operate it as if it's like normal Gmail, the way you have it set up on your phone. But for this method, they depending on the company you're using, you may not be able to do that, and you may be restricted to accessing it through the website itself alone, like through the URL. And I don't think that's much of a problem because for most people, also they just really check their mail through a browser on their laptop. So that might not really come off as an issue to most people. So you go to the website, you confirm through the steps that they would offer to you that you own the domain name you're trying to create custom email address for, right? After you've purchased the domain name from a company that says domain name, let's say something like, I would always use reference namecheap.com because they're the one I've used since 2017. And then after you've confirmed that with them, they will give you some credentials to input on your own end through your administrative section for that domain name under the company is registered with. And then they will handle the rest from there. Just ask you for some details like how do you want to create what kind of name do you want for the email address and whatnot. That's literally the way I use right now. I use Orome.net. That's literally the way I use for Safran.com because Safran.com is not hosted on the cPanel hosting. And I think that's about it for that one. For features that you might be missing or that you might want when you want to pay for more, just check their pricing list and you'll be able to find your way around that. And that's easy peasy. Let's go. Now, the third feature is the third method rather is if you want to do it like hands-free in a way, you don't want to get technical in the tiniest bit, you don't want to have to go and buy your domain name yourself and all of that, gradually start setting up credentials and co. The oldest method in the business that I know, that I think I have known of them since like 2012 to be the way to go, way before some of these other platforms started existing, offering these features, as not before they start existing, before they start offering these features in such a robust manner, is just buying a business mail, right? Like you go to the hosting company, for instance, right? Like Namecheap. We are talking about Namecheap again. It's not like, mind you, this video is not sponsored by anyone, but that you go to the company, right? And you tell them you want a business email. They will take you through the steps and ask you, do you have a domain name or not? And you register. But the caveat to this is the first version I spoke of, the first method, is free in a way. The second one can be really free and then it's cheap if you want to pay for some extra feature. This one is never really free. It's the most expensive method and the most popular method amongst big corporations, right? Because it's seamless, it's the most secured method in a way because you really don't have to worry about your cPanel hosting. If your SPF records are in a mismatch, spam and all of that, they will handle it to the core because they are charging premium. The pricing for it can go to up to thousands of dollars per year, right? From hundreds. And those are about these free methods. Now, why are we talking about custom email addresses that tends to be quite expensive on this channel, Creators on a Budget? Let's get to that. Now, if I was applying for a job and you were also applying for the same job, and when pitted against each other, our skill set match, but when we were submitting what's it called, resumes, mine came from a custom email address and yours came from a kind of generic email address, maybe not even tailored to your name in a way. Not just that, like it does not carry your name as the domain name, right? Maybe you just wrote baddestdesigner@gmail.com, right? Not even like tomiwa@gmail.com. Meanwhile, I'm delivering it with tomiwa@thedesigner.com, right? Who do you think they would attend to more? Now they'll probably attend to you more if you have a stronger connection, but if you don't, they're going to attend to the guy that seems more professional. So that's what I'm talking about, is for creators on a budget. And I know if you're on a budget, you can be able to achieve this by just paying for your domain name, which might cost you less than 30,000 naira for the year, right? And if you want to take it a notch further, within like 50,000 naira, you probably will pay for a premium plan on Zoho.net, get your domain name at the same time, and be able to handle your custom email addresses. So that's why we're talking about that on Creators on the Budget. And I hope this video helps out with an advancement that you personally need for your personal brand, or you need for your corporate brand, or that you probably will turn into a skill that you use to earn money. And that's it for this particular video, guys. I just wanted to rush in and rush out and not bore you, and at the same time still inform or educate you. And I hope I've done that in a way. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Ciao.